Okay, I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like you were destined to be the biggest person in the room? I know I have, but I have some tips to help you get past that. And I actually call them 3 weight loss tips, but let's dive in and see if they can help you. But first, I want to introduce myself. I'm Michelle from ONEderland Wellness, and I'm a certified health coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist. Why? I got all of those certifications after I lost 120 pounds because I did it differently than everybody else did. And I wanted to see if I could find some kind of way to share that with you. Let's see. Who are you? If you're following my channel, you are a smart, successful woman over 40 that has 100 pounds or more to lose, and you're sick and tired of observing life, and you want to get out of pain and start living a life you love in a body that gives you joy. And you want to do this with consistency and confidence so that you can keep moving forward. I told you I've lost 120 pounds, but what I haven't told you is I've maintained that loss for 5 years. Prior to those 5 years, I spent a lifetime on a weight loss roller coaster. Let me tell you, it wasn't a fun ride. I want to tell you a little story. So let's jump in. What I want to know from you is, have you hit your weight gain rock bottom yet? I really used to think that rock bottom was for someone with an addiction, but I actually hit my weight gain rock bottom when I flew out from my father's funeral. It was one of the most challenging trips I ever took. And 99% of that challenge was my weight. Was it a miserable trip because I was going out for my father's funeral? Yeah, it was miserable. But during this flight, first of all, getting to the airplane terminal where I had to be was nearly impossible. My oldest child was with me, and he had to help me get from one end of the terminal to the other because I hurt so bad trying to carry my carry-on and was so miserable, and I hurt from head to toe. To compound matters, getting on the airplane and sitting in the middle seat where I was flowing over the edge of the seat into the seats on either side of me, I was mortified. I was absolutely 100% mortified. So that was my rock bottom because I flew out to my dad's funeral hurting and in pain the entire way. And on top of that, the just being mortified over spilling over into seats was just more than I could handle. While I was out there, I started a plan. And I will dig into that plan. But first, where are you now? Do you hurt all the time? Do you hate to look at yourself in the mirror? Do you cry yourself to sleep, or do you wish you could? And the big one, is the world happening to you and you're just an observer? If you're sitting there thinking, OMG, that is so me, I've been there. This was just one little story in a big grand scheme of stories that put me right where you're sitting now. I felt like the world was caving in around me. Let me start off with the first tip. The thing about these tips are you have to start really, really small, because trying to take on too much puts you in this huge place of overwhelm, feeling like you'll never get there. So the first step is to figure out what you want and why you really want it. Let me just say it took me 5 months to find that. In the end, I chose all I really wanted to be able to do was to get healthy and be able to keep up with my family. I have 3 kids. The oldest is 10 years and 2 weeks older than the youngest. And then the last 2 are 17 months apart. One of the stories during this 5 months that I want to share with you is we drove to Six Flags. After an hour of walking, I was done. We had driven for 2 hours. And by the end of that hour of walking, my feet hurt, my back hurt, and all I wanted to do was curl up into a ball of misery. I ended up stopping my family's fun I think I made it about 3 hours. During my weight loss, I remembered I used this story to keep me going. I used my want to be able to keep up with my family and to be able to do things with them. Anytime my want for something that didn't meet my goals was really strong. Using that why helped me lose the weight. It helped me get to a point where I could start moving my body, because keep in mind, when I first started my journey, I couldn't walk up the stairs at the end of the day to tuck in my kids without my husband literally holding me and pushing me up the stairs. So let's turn around and look at weight loss tip number 2, because story number 1 actually helped me figure out story number 2 in a roundabout way. The second weight loss tip I have for you is learn how you cope. Let me tell you, I coped with everything with food. If it was a happy event, food. If I was angry, food. If I was frustrated, food. If I was bored, more food. So I didn't really change this during those 5 months, but when I was getting ready to start my journey, and during those 5 months where I was really kind of planning things out in my head, I started keeping track of everything that I used food to cope for, and it turned out it was pretty much everything. So my second 100-pound weight loss tip is pay attention to what triggers you. It comes in very handy. And the reason I say weight loss tip number 1 helped me with weight loss tip number 2 is once I actually started my weight loss journey, I used that complete, not disgust, that complete sense of helplessness that I felt when I wanted to let my family keep having fun to guide me when I was trying to cope with food. So let's jump in to weight loss tip number 3. During the 5 months, I started looking for communities of people that were either losing weight or doing things that I thought I might want to do. Keep in mind, I was the overweight kid that read books all the way through elementary, junior high, high school, college, after giving birth. I really was not an active person. So I thought at one point I wanted to be a runner, but to be honest with you, after a lifetime of having almost 100 pounds to lose or over 100 pounds to lose, my knees still won't let me be a runner. It's not something that, it turned out to be something that didn't work for me. So as I was in this 5-month transition period, I started looking for communities of people that were doing things I thought I might want to do. And then I also started looking for communities of people that were on the same journey as I was. This was really, really important. I kind of stalked them, and I jokingly say in the blog post that goes with this, stalk them and don't compare yourself with them, and don't compare your journey to theirs, but stalk them in the sense of learn what they're doing, figure out how they started doing what they were doing. Nobody starts off as a marathon runner. There's a lot of training involved. Nobody starts off heavy lifting 400 pounds. There's a training process that goes along with this. So start looking for those things that you think you might want to do that involve movement. For us and my family, I actually convinced them to start doing obstacle course races. I still don't run them, but I love the fact that I have the ability to climb really large walls. And then there's a cot race where my husband holds one end of the cot and I hold the other, and one of the kids gets on the cot and we go around in a circle. You know, the fact that I'm strong enough and able to do those things are so much fun. But had I not witnessed somebody else doing those obstacle course races, I would have never considered that fun. So if you've spent a lifetime overweight or a lifetime sedentary, start looking for things that you want to be able to do, but your weight prevents you from being able to do it right now. And start looking for people to follow that are both on the weight loss journey and people that have already completed the weight loss journey and are doing things that you think look interesting. I really want you to not look at it from a point of comparison, but from a point of what's possible. So I know that you may be at the point where all you really want is the pain to go away, both the physical ache and the mental one. But in order for that to happen, you have to start picturing the change and not play the compare game, because the compare game will just get you in a horrible negative mindset. And that's not what all of this is about. So now, I told you about my rock bottom, and I have to tell you, it was full of tears and a whole lot of anger, and that's completely normal. So if you're at that rock bottom stage and you find yourself alternating between a puddle of tears and anger at the world and at yourself, it's normal. But you can do this. These 3 tips will help you. Remember, the first one is figure out what you want and why you want it. And then start figuring out why you eat. Look for your comfort foods and what triggers you to go there. And finally, find people to stalk. Not literally, please. I don't want to hear any reports of people going to jail for stalking someone, but look at, join Facebook groups and find people who are living the lifestyle you want to live to help you move toward that point of change. These 3 weight loss tips really prepare you to start your journey, and the awareness helps with success and keeps you moving from this place of just misery to an overwhelm to one of I can do this. Now, I have an offer for you. It's really, really simple. If you're ready to meet a great group of women that are on the same journey you're on and you're looking for people to stalk, I would love to have you join our Facebook group. And the Facebook group is called Mastering 100-Pound Weight Loss for Women Over 40. And this amazing group of women are there to support you and answer questions. And I'm in there all the time providing motivation and support. And I would absolutely love to have you join if you're not already a member. And on that note, thank you for taking the time to listen to these 3 weight loss tips. And I look forward to hearing about your successes on your journey. I'm going to send you off with some love and hugs. Have an amazing day.